7 of you may go sit. I was telling some of the children, some of the younger people, that I have a greyhound, and people are always giving greyhounds stuffed animals for some reason. So she has like 100 of them, and she picks them up and runs through the house with them and drops them randomly. So my entire house is a tripping hazard with stuffings. I open with words adapted from the Reverend Lawrence McGinty to draw us into this time together. To this house we come bringing our boldest dreams, seeking here the inspiration and strength to make them be, to be sustained through their pain and to discover new ones. Let's try again. Inspiration and strength to make them be. To this house we come to resolve our broken dreams, to be sustained through their pain and to discover new ones amidst their tears. We come here lonely, isolated from meaningful human contact, searching for warmth and closeness and care, seeking to grow beyond plateaus of the commonplace. We find here challenges and commitments leading to greater wholeness and deeper meanings. We come intense and guarded, hoping for encouragement to shed our pretenses and be ourselves. Filled with despair and self-doubt, we seek affirmations prodding us to say yes to ourselves and to life. Somehow, integrating our commitments and ourselves, we enter this place trusting that what happens here will support us today and liberate us for tomorrow. Wondrous place. This house, here we cry, sing, laugh, hurt, dance, touch, survive, celebrate, grow, search, doubt, hope, rejoice, pray, trust, care, learn, think, wonder, be, and become. Yes, this morning, to this wondrous, sacred house we come. Come, let us worship in its most ancient sense. Let us let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 360. Here we have gathered. So how much are you going to play? Like the opening line, Paulie, or what? Okay, all right.
Ages will
seated. This month, the Jewish faith tradition celebrates new beginnings, with Rosh Hashanah, the new year, and bringing balance and connection into our lives with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. To support our new beginnings and making things right in our relationships, we can learn from the Hawaiian tradition the Ho'oponopono prayer. So pono means restoring connection. And so this is a prayer that's used to help people restore connection. Ho'oponopono. Okay, so say it with me. Ho'oponopono. It's pretty straightforward. So this can be used as a meditation to bring more peace into our lives. The word ho'oponopono, as I just said, means to cause things to move back into balance or to make things right. There are just 4 phrases in the prayer, and we say them silently to ourselves, or we can say them out loud, but we can say them silently to ourselves whenever we need to be reminded. And so the 4 phrases are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So one way to use this prayer is when we've had a negative reaction to someone because of how they look or act or even something they're wearing. This can be just a thought or a reaction, not even something we do in any obvious way, but sometimes we have something that shows up where we just don't have a good reaction to something. So for example, I was walking my dog the other day when I met one of my neighbors with his little dog, and he was wearing a red ball cap with a political slogan that I do not agree with. I won't say what it was, but you might be able to guess. Without really knowing anything about him, I had a negative reaction, rather than staying open to knowing who he actually is as a complete human being. That puts my relationship with my neighbor out of balance, and I'm sorry I had that reaction. So to get back into balance within myself, I can use the Ho'oponopono prayer. I can just say to myself, I'm sorry, and mentally say to him, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I bring up the memory in my mind, the picture of him standing there with his dog and his red hat, and I say silently to him, I'm sorry I had that reaction. Please forgive me and be present to my opening my heart to you. Thank you. I love you. My faith is centered in love, and I love you in all of humanity, all your complexity, no matter what you might think politically or socially. So I'm going to invite you all to try this with me. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if it helps you to think or imagine, and remember something or someone in the past several days about which you've had a negative thought. It could be a friend or a colleague, a classmate if you're in school, someone in your family, a political figure in the news. There's a lot of things we can have reactions to these days. So get a picture of them in your mind so you can kind of silently speak to them. So take a minute. Get a picture of something or someone you had a negative reaction to. And now with me, one phrase at a time, think to yourself or gently say out loud, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now let's take this a step deeper. One of the hardest people to have a relationship with is sometimes ourselves. Sometimes we hold on to blame or shame in a way that hurts us inside. It's important to acknowledge to ourselves when we've done something wrong or fallen short of our own expectations so that we forgive ourselves, release any blame or shame, and love ourselves just as we are. So now I invite you to take a moment to remember something you did that you may be blaming, yourself for. Maybe you, knocked something over or looked at somebody funny, or said something to someone that you regret having said. I do that all the time. Or kind of spoke more sharply than you meant to, or didn't let somebody sit next to you in the cafeteria, whatever it was. So this can be something recent, or maybe something in the past, something big or something small that you've been holding on to. And maybe you can get ready now to let it go. So get your memory of something you're kind of blaming yourself for. Like a time I spoke sharply to my son when he was little, and I still feel badly about it. Or yesterday when I spoke sharply to someone and I didn't mean to. So get that memory in your mind, and with me, one phrase at a time, say thoughtfully, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you." And now we will sing the younger folks to their class. And Miss Jane is standing at the back waiting for them, so ready to go. As you leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness which you learn light your hearts till you return. Bye. I have much gratitude for Paulie, who volunteered to provide our music today, as Catherine is taking a Sunday off, a rare Sunday off. So thank you so much, Paulie, for the generosity that serves this congregation, that brings love and light, and that helps to transform the world. We are grateful. Thank you. Somebody told me I should hold the basket. New beginnings. What is a new beginning, anyhow? A beginning is a start, implying there's nothing in place before it, like the Big Bang, where we went from nothing to something. In a new beginning, we know that there is history, and the new is a renewal, a regeneration, a new burst of energy, a starting over in which there is a shift into a new way of being at a new level. A new beginning builds on what has been while offering new possibilities. We don't have to dissolve like the caterpillar on the way to becoming a butterfly, nor do we have to go up in flames like the phoenix to rise from our own ashes. A new beginning implies the opportunity to learn from and release the past and create something even better in ourselves, in our organizations, in our society. We humans are creatures of new beginnings, and we find occasion to create and celebrate our cycles and new starts in myriad ways. Christians and pagans celebrate the new year beginning in midwinter, the rebirth of the sun after the long dark night, the winter solstice. Jews begin in autumn, as the Jewish days of awe each year mark a new beginning. This new beginning of the Jewish cycle started this week with the eve of Rosh Hashanah last Wednesday at sundown, and continues through Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, next Friday, October 11th. For Jews around the world, this is a sacred, solemn, and joyous period, a time to celebrate a new beginning, to repair broken relationships, and renew the commitment to live in integrity and wholeness. Rosh Hashanah, translated as the head of the year, commemorates the sixth day of Genesis, the day in Jewish scripture on which the humans that we call Adam and Eve were created by God. Jews prepare for Rosh Hashanah with a month of introspection, Elul, the last month of the Jewish year, culminating with Selichot, the final week of fervent prayer, a time of deep preparation to enter a new year on Rosh Hashanah. Even as Jews celebrate a new beginning in Rosh Hashanah as the birthday of humanity, we often find humans of many faiths and cultures creating opportunities at every turn for new beginnings. We celebrate a new birth, a new home, a new job, a new course of study. Each time we reach a point of new beginning, there is an excitement of a fresh start, new resolutions, the chance to leave behind the mistakes of the past and apply the lessons we've learned from the challenges we have faced. Each point of a new beginning throughout our lives provides an opportunity to begin again in love. Each new beginning can provide the opportunity to say, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. The opportunity to seek a do-over, a chance to try again, so perhaps we can make it even better the next time. The do-over, that is one key, I think, to our love of new beginnings. Some new beginnings are necessary, not because we've wronged anyone, but simply because we have changed, or our environment has changed, time has progressed, or perhaps the old way forward has filled with obstacles, and it's time for a new pathway to be created, bringing all of who we are into a new way of being. A new pathway is emerging here at the UU congregation of the Catskills, where in recent years, obstacles in the old path have grown. As is happening in so many congregations in these times, UUCC no longer has the capacity to mobilize either volunteer labor or the funds to maintain your beloved congregational home, especially the beloved and historic farmhouse. There's been no fault or error, but the world has changed, the congregation has changed, and so you need to find a way to make a new start. This painful discovery has been emerging for some years now, and you spent the time you needed for introspection and analysis before you committed to a new beginning, carefully examining the issues from all sides, seeking to discover a solution that could carry you into a future of renewal. Many options were explored, and finally the time came to define your new beginning, one that would honor the traditions of your rich heritage, while providing the freedom and flexibility to change in response to a changing environment and to the changing needs and expectations of your members. In our democratic tradition, you voted in June to place this property up for sale, not really knowing what would happen, and again in August to accept a purchase order that will allow a purchase offer that will allow you to seek a new spiritual home, a new beginning to move into the unfolding future. As I wrote a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, in the October newsletter, 2 weeks ago, about 40 members stayed after the Sunday service to be part of shaping a vision for the future of UU, to imagine the direction for your new beginning in a new congregational home. How many of you were part of that? Excellent. You worked in small groups at tables around the sanctuary, and the room was buzzing with commitment and imagination as each group consulted and collaborated to describe the UU congregation of the Catskills of the future. The images you created with drawings and words are posted around you today. So along the back there were 6 tables, and there are 6 images posted. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 tables. We had to set up another table because there were so many people participating. So there are 7 images posted around, and during the social hour, well, we don't have a social hour, so after the service, I invite you to move around the room and create your own social hour to review the variety of ways you imagine bringing your mission and commitment into a new space. Your images included a big tent of welcome filled with vibrant activity, a blue boat home under an arching rainbow of shared values, a heart-shaped balloon lifted by the flame of love, an accessible and welcoming building on wheels in full motion, inclusive and affordable circles of belonging, a circle of sharing that's open to the community, and a Vitamix blender combining all the things that make UUCC a loving community. As the groups that Sunday afternoon shared their images and explained their meanings, we captured a list of the key words from those descriptions. Every participant got to vote for what they considered the highest priorities in the shared visions, shining light on your hopes and dreams for this new beginning. The highest priority was that the new home for UUCC be affordable and sustainable, so that the congregation has a sense of security, financial security, security in who you are and where you are. The next highest scores were for social action, creating community, and welcoming. These priorities reflect your mission and core values and can be expressed in the location you choose, as well as in your programs and activities. Continuing down the list, you hope that the future of the congregation will include spaces and programs that are accessible, flexible, visible, and inclusive, supporting diversity, education, and music with love at the center and reaching out into the community. Other votes went to parking, expansion, growth, and outreach, prayer, fun, and sharing, a connection with the earth and with the Seed Song Farm in Kingston. Your visions of the future will help you shape the reality that is before you. In Jewish tradition, the time of new beginnings looks both forward and back, a period of intense spiritual transformation that begins with Rosh Hashanah and ends with Yom Kippur, the days of awe, fraught with meaning and dread. The time culminates in Kol Nidre, the eve of Yom Kippur, when the great court is convened above and below. Yom Kippur itself, the Day of Atonement, is the day we rehearse our own death, the day that comes to a close with a clanging shut of the great gates. Yom Kippur is the highest of the high holy days in Jewish tradition, the day to recognize all the ways in which we have failed to live up to our own expectations, the day to make amends and to seek forgiveness. The Day of Atonement recalls us into the knowledge that we are mortal. We are human, and to be human is to fall short of our own expectations, again and again, not being the people we most want ourselves to be. In Jewish tradition, the opportunity to apologize for our mistakes or hurtful actions is the deep gift of the new beginning. We set our sights on a goal, and then we slip and trip and miss the mark. May I have a do-over? We try something new to us, and we find it doesn't turn out exactly as we hoped. May I have a do-over? We do our best to be a loving partner or friend, and then we say or do something thoughtless, and a precious relationship is broken. May I please have a do-over, a chance to get it right, another chance to make all well between us. Time and time again we fall short. Time and again we recognize that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, that we have struck out in anger when we are in pain. Perhaps we have been greedy, selfish, or self-centered. We recognize that we've fallen short of the expectations we have for ourselves, and so we ask for another chance, a do-over. We ask for forgiveness, we seek atonement, an opportunity to begin again in love. Atonement is more than simply doing penance or making amends. It is truly a process of at-one-ment, atonement at-one-ment, in which we retrieve and reassemble that which within us is broken, as we repair the relationships that we have broken in our failings. We seek to return to a state of unity, of coherence, a posture of alignment with our inner knowing, alignment with the life force, alignment with the deep source of our power to live in a meaningful and connected way. We seek to be at one with the essence of being, with the divine, with spirit, with the web of all existence. We seek to be at one with those we love, restoring healthy relationship. The ways in which we have fallen short or broken relationship may be in our individual lives, in our friendships and intimate partnerships, so that we can ask and receive forgiveness in very specific ways. We may also fall short in our larger collective, such as in our faith community. It's when our personal desires or our biases create a barrier between us and our fellow congregants. This might show up in words or actions that fail to respect the full humanity of others whose identity or beliefs are different from our own. It might show up as a threat to withhold love if others don't agree with us, or by neglecting the responsibilities of our role in the community. It is simply human to fall short of our own best selves in community, and when that happens, it is incumbent upon us, each of us, to recognize our fallible humanity, to apologize, ask forgiveness, and make amends, even as it is incumbent upon each of us to open our hearts with grace, to offer forgiveness, and restore the connection of our relationship. And there are larger societal patterns in which we may seek to restore wholeness, continuing to seek and support reparations for slavery, to bring equity into the basic rights of LGBTQAI+ people, to create safe haven for those who suffer domestic violence, or who are hungry, or unhoused, or suffer neglect. So many societal harms continue because we have not collectively enacted legislation and created systems that can reduce harm and ameliorate suffering. Societal change is part of atonement as well. The practice of atonement has several dimensions: forgiving ourselves, forgiving each other, forgiving those who came before us, so that we can create a better world for those who come after. In atonement, we seek to bring ourselves and the world back into alignment with our commitment to something new, a true apology that says, "I'm sorry, how can I make things better?" An apology that does not make excuses or somehow imply that the hurt person is responsible for causing their own hurt. The first step is to say you're sorry, acknowledging that you broke relationship, and to indicate that you want to remain or return to relationship. The second step is to ask what you can do to make it better and decide if it's something you will do. And the third part is to make a commitment and do it. To restore wholeness, to be at one, we must learn what we may do to make it right, to make up for the hurt or harm as we commit to corrective action. We cannot get to somewhere new the same way we got to where we are. To begin again in love, we must acknowledge the brokenness. We must make the changes in ourselves and in the world that allow hurt to be healed, that provide reparation and restoration, so that our new beginning will actually take us not in a circle back to where we were, but in an arc to where our hopes tell us that we might arrive. We forgive ourselves, that is where we begin. We are each on our own path, and I've learned that before I can forgive myself, I need to admit my own mistakes. I need to admit to the ways I've fallen short of what I expect from myself. It's no easy task to discover and admit my own failings, to be open to seeing and feeling the hurt I have caused, to allow that to move through me without overwhelming me, and to learn what I can do, what I must do to correct the harm and begin again in love. The Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs, a Unitarian Universalist minister of Jewish heritage who died in 2022, created from Jewish tradition a Unitarian Universalist litany of atonement. We forgive ourselves and each other, and we begin again in love. I offer that now as our closing hymn. It's a singing reflection as we prepare for the new beginnings in our lives. If you want to read along, you will find it as number 1037 in your teal hymnal. The tune is relatively simple, and there's only a few words, so you might be able to pick it up without using the hymnal. So there are spoken lines, and there's a sung refrain, And Paulie will support our singing from the piano, and we'll sing together the refrain. And Paulie, would you play it through once, and then I'll sing it, and then we'll all sing it together, and then we'll start the litany. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. Let's sing it one more time together, and then we'll start the litany. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. So may it be. As the reality of the past draws to the end and we embark on a new phase of our lives, let us celebrate the possibilities of a new beginning as we engage the rituals of atonement, of at-one-ment. Let us forgive ourselves to heal the hurts we have suffered, to resolve the scars that we bear. Let us seek forgiveness and forgive each other, seeking to right the wrong, to heal the harm, to restore broken relationships in our relationships, our communities, and our society. And let us begin again in love to bring ourselves and our world back into wholeness. So may it be. Amen. And blessed be. I invite you now to join in the words for extinguishing the flame. They are printed in your order of service. And Joyce will extinguish the flame as we speak. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You are is here.